morning and welcome to warm-up for MotoGP here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. It's dry conditions at the moment as it stands. Let's cross over and join our colleagues.
Corners. In previous years, we've seen that be a real issue, and in these temperatures, it could be an issue. So, I mean, I'm sure the crew chiefs will have reminded the riders, just be respectful on the left-hand side of the tyre on your opening 2 laps.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what people have got in. Morbidelli and Bastianini, Di Gianantonio, Aldeguer. In fact, the majority of the Ducati runners going with the soft front tyre, which is interesting, as Jorge Martin will have been particularly cautious. A little bit of a practice of bike change didn't quite go as smoothly as he would have hoped, but yeah, he's been caught out, hasn't he? He used a hard front tyre in practice on Friday and threw it down the road, pushing too early on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, you can tell that the fact that the riders are coming in doing the flag-to-flag swaps, it's almost like that's more important than riding around on a cool track. Now, you're not going to learn that much because it's going to warm up throughout the day, the track temperature. So you might as well... Actually, or
is it? If there was cloud cover all day...
According to the ambient temperature is going to increase. Not a ridiculous amount, but it's... Let's say the track temperature will be 10 degrees warmer come 3 p.m.
But I feel like yesterday's tyre issues for Bagnaia for one, but a lot of people were saying, Alex Marquez said his front started to drop. He had a problem with that, and that's why he had his problem. After that, he couldn't do anything. That's why he was a little bit wide when Marc got past him, and so yeah, there is something for double race distance, full race distance that there just is a thought that they've got to go through now in this session. Yeah,
absolutely. We discussed it a bit last night. The problem for everyone else is Marc Marquez is at his best when the tyres are slightly warm, when they're off, when there's less grip. That's why we see him at the start of the races this year. Now he's been a lot more conservative, doesn't want to take too much risk. And actually, he admitted yesterday after the race, he just waited for the tyres to drop. And at that point, he can maintain the same lap times and the others can't. And that is, basically, it's almost like, at that point then, skill really comes in, talent, your ability comes in, and he's a step ahead of the rest of the field. And unfortunately for all his opponents, he's on the best bike now. And he looks slow, doesn't he? We've commented on that in previous years. In the dominant decade on the Honda, he never looked slow. It always looked hard. It looked like he had to force it. It looked like he was going to crash pretty much every session. It does not look like that now. He has crashed, of course. There has been mistakes this year, but in general, the footage we see of him, wheels are in line.
I was with Matt Burt, who commentates on the World Feed this morning. I had a coffee with him first thing this morning, and we were just saying how you both saying, hey, just don't feel like he's being pushed yet. And that's what we want. And that's why you want Pedro Cups, because you know it was frosty between them in the car last night. You know Pedro's marked his card. He wants to serve it to Marc. And when that happens, maybe we'll see a bit more. But it does feel like Marc Marquez is doing this at 90%.
Yeah.
That sounds harsh on everybody else, but it feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the truth. That is the truth, and that's why we want KTM to improve their package.
They are, aren't they?
And they've made a big step this in the summer break. They've brought a new aero package. All the riders prefer it. The bike is turning much better, which has been their Achilles heel.
Well, then Bastianini's just got up to third. He was in there yesterday.
Yeah.
Binder had his best sprint result of the season. It was dramatically different. Look, KTMs have always gone quite well around here. As you know, they've had a lot of time here over the years. The true test maybe won't be Hungary, but we won't see when we get further down the line. Barcelona's another hard one because the grip levels of the track there. So maybe Misano, but I keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
But it's round 13 now. They've got to find something, haven't they? Marc has gone to the top of the timesheet with a decent lap time this morning in these cooler conditions, 129.9. Is Marco Bezzecchi going to get involved today?
Yeah, he's not had, even though he started from pole, by the way, he's not had the race pace of the others. His pace has been around. The 3 Ducatis have been the fastest. It's been Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia had pretty much the second race pace, and Alex Marquez. And then it's a battle between Pedro and Marco Bezzecchi, really. That's how I see it. And actually, in the back shot there, for me, Aldeguer could be a dark horse for the race. Went forward in the sprint race.
And you know what, with Aldeguer, Neil, you know, like you talk about Marc Marquez and used tyres, how many times this year have we seen the rookie late stage of the race coming on through like he does have this ability when tyres are going?
Yeah, you are so right. And that's what I think that's been the standout of his rookie season. Normally what happens is rookies fall back in the second half of the race because it's hard to understand how to deal with all that power when you're dealing with changing the maps on the bike, your engine braking setting, the power setting. Dealing with all those things as the tyre drops is really, really technical, and you need a high level of skill to be able to control that and know when to press the buttons at the right time. And Aldeguer seems like he's got a really good feeling for that.
A good crew chief with him in
that helps so much.
Who spent so many years working in teams on almost on underpowered motorcycles, or motorcycles who quite, you know, haven't had the full factory spec and still don't. You know, he's on last year's bike. And then, okay, let's work to the late stage of the race and control what we can, control tyre wear, control things.
Well, he would have Frankie Carcetti, as a crew chief, won a MotoGP World Championship with Joan Mir on the Suzuki through exactly what you've just said. We don't have the fastest bike, we don't have the bike that stops the best, but I'll tell you what, we will work on tyre life, longevity, we'll make sure we can do consistent lap times, and he's always worked hard with his riders, hard on himself with getting the setting, get the electronic side of it just perfect.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Frankie Carcetti is. I think we're going to see Alex Marquez practice his long lap that he's got to take. I'm not going to say that Frankie Carcetti taught Marc Marquez a thing or two, because I think they both fed off each other last year. But look at Marc this year. I mean, again, he's got the now, so he's worked out the Ducati how to get the best out of it in the latter laps.
Yeah.
And that's the way he's been setting up his season. It's by managing the trickier part of the early part of the race and then having more in hand as the race goes on. Yeah, Alex Marquez, that long lap loop is going to cost him, what do we reckon, a couple of seconds?
Yeah, probably.
And that's too much, isn't it, to give away to Marc?
Yeah, it is. Between 1.5 and 2 seconds it's going to give away. So what he's going to have to hope for is that he leads the race like he did yesterday, and obviously choose his moment. He'll do it early-ish. Well, actually, probably, and I'm going to start this one again. He'll do it as probably late as he possibly can, because if he gets the lead, he'll want to try and stretch it, which he did a bit yesterday, to try to, so he doesn't fall back too far. But essentially, if he goes down that loop whilst he's leading, I'm going to say he's going to join. He'll have to do it by lap 4, won't he? They normally give you the sign.
They give you the sign usually on about the first lap. Yeah, so you've got until about lap 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd guess he's going to drop down to about 4th, and by then, if Marc's in second,
yeah, he'll be with Bezzecchi and Acosta, and it won't be easy to get through on either of them. That's good from Bezzecchi, isn't it? It's been a few laps there that he's put in. The problem is going to be on the Aprilia into here, into turn 3, into turn 4. It's just the stability that they've been having with that Aprilia this weekend. Numerous times, even on his pole lap, you know, it just felt right on the limit.
Yeah, just getting the bike stopped. It certainly is a little bit nervous in the braking zones.
Joan Mir and Luca Marini didn't go forward yesterday. Mir went backwards. Marini, I think, made one position up effectively, but I think that's more the tool that they're battling with at the moment. What about Pecco Bagnaia? What about yesterday? You're Davide Tardozzi. I put you in his shoes, and that's happened to your rider again. He's talking about his rear tyre again, that he doesn't have the feeling with it in the sprint again. What did you say to him yesterday evening to make sure that when it comes to today, he can have a bit of that positive feeling that he felt on Friday?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because I think Davide Tardozzi will find himself sort of repeating himself, but you've to quickly forget about what happened yesterday. I'm going to say 90% of it was out of Pecco Bagnaia's control. So I think if you're his team manager, Davide Tardozzi, you'll be just saying, look, forget about today. There's nothing you can do. Tyres clearly got an issue. The data doesn't lie anyway. You've got all the information with the data. So let's focus on tomorrow. You've worked on your race pace.
It's happened to Pecco a few times now, where it's the tyre. Is there something in, I don't know, a setting? Is there something in a way that I don't know how to say?
It's a difficult one to answer. I know exactly what you. Yeah, because
it's not happening to Marc Marquez every week. It's not happening to.
I've got to say, it used to be one of my lines years ago. I used to say it a lot in the like 2017, 18, 19, and there were lots of people around that period complaining about tyres. I went, weird, Marc Marquez never seems to get any faulty tyres, does he? That's a strange one. You know, like, so, but yeah, I don't, it's a difficult one to answer. All I know is the footage we saw of Bagnaia, he had an issue.
Absolutely.
They've analysed the tyre, and basically Michelin have said, yeah, the tyre was absolutely destroyed. Hey, well, Bagnaia pulled in on lap, what was it, 4? Yeah, so. This man was impressive yesterday.
Yeah.
Went forward in a sprint race, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, I think hopefully by the end of the year, Jorge Martin will be doing what Bezzecchi's doing.
I agree.
Hopefully.
I think he's better than Bezzecchi. For me, personally, just sitting here, and I know obviously I'm talking about the world champion from last year. You're like, ooh, big statement, but I think he's a better rider. I'm not saying Marco's still a young rider and he's still got time to prove, but when I look at them both individually, Martin is a more rounded rider. He just, unfortunately, and he's had the issue all through his career, he's brittle.
Well, he's made out of biscuits, isn't he?
He is, literally. I'm so pleased that Jorge Martin won the World Championship last year and he didn't lose it through an injury.
Yeah.
That was one of my fears. I wanted it to be a fair head-to-head with him and Bagnaia. And actually, I didn't care personally who won between them, but I didn't want Martin to lose it through just a silly little crash and another broken bone.
I saw Brad Binder coming in. Good to see Brad, wasn't it, this weekend? Looking more like when he's wrestling the bike, actually working for him.
Yeah. Do you know what, yesterday it did look like the old Brad. He looked like he was wrestling the bike, but the bike was pulling all the right shapes. We've seen him a little bit like that this year, and it's looked awkward. That was a good one.
Yeah. Everyone having to go through a little rehearsal. You get many chances to do that, to do the flag-to-flag changeover. We'll see if it's required today. As you say, the forecast says cloud around, possibilities of rain.
There'll be a lot of people doing rain dances, because I've already been told a lot of people have been putting money on Zarco.
in Dorna, I imagine they are as well, and Liberty.
Well, yeah, that's true. Where's Zarco qualified, by the way?
He's on.
I've got that sheet in front of me.
He's on the fourth row of the grid, isn't he?
Oh, so he's not too far back.
No.
Lovely shot. The classic, well, not classic, the new school style of Jorge Martin still doesn't look quite as comfortable as he did on that Ducati, but of course he's not going to yet, because he's still, essentially for him, he's just about finished pre-season testing, hasn't he?
In terms of laps that he's done on the bike,
exactly.
You're probably about right.
Yeah. I heard this weekend he's still, believe it or not, playing around with handlebar positions, which is always a sign.
So we look up the track from above the main grandstand.
I'll tell you what, Gav, whoever's watching this now anyway, I am looking forward to the MotoGP race, but coming up we've got the Moto3 race. We have had one of those weekends, it looks really tasty on paper, with about 6 very aggressive riders.
I mean, I'm going to be watching it wearing a helmet myself.
All with similar pace. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker, isn't it?
It really is going to be a cracker, and you can join us for all the action later on JB Motorsports. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.